The story opens in the Xuantian continent, Tianling Domain Dongxing Nation, a mystical cultivation world. Here, sects and factions are built upon colossal verdant stone masses, floating high in the sky amidst a sea of white clouds. In a place known as the Heavenly Demon Sect, it was the day of the Empress's grand wedding. Buildings throughout the sect were adorned with red streamers, celebrating this grand occasion for the entire sect. On the steps leading to the main hall, people gathered chatting and laughing merrily. A steward eagerly welcomed the guests. The ceremony is about to begin. Esteemed guests, please proceed to the banquet. Elder Zhang, welcome, welcome. Master Liu, greetings. Sect Master, this way, please. Inside the main hall, the decorations were incredibly lavish. Everything from the double happiness characters hanging streamers, curtains, and carpets to the tables and chairs was a vibrant red. The atmosphere was bustling with a large and lively crowd of attendees. At this moment, Lin Xiaojiao, a cultivator at the Earth King realm, and a prince of the Dongxing nation made his appearance. An old servant respectfully gestured for him to take a seat at a VIP table. Third prince, this way, please, to the esteemed guests' table. Seeing him, two young masters attending the event began to whisper amongst themselves. That's the third prince of Dongxing nation, Lin Xiaojiao. Isn't it truly a man of talent? I hear he's already an Earth King realm expert at such a young age, though still far from Her Majesty the Empress's divine emperor realm. Speaking of martial cultivation realms in the Xuantian continent, they are divided as follows. Martial artist Zhuan, martial master spirit connection, realm, Earth, King realm, Saint Emperor realm, Heavenly Venerable realm, Divine Emperor realm, Demigod, realm, and Ancestral God realm. After seeing the imposing third prince walk by, one of the two young masters who had been whispering expressed his disdain. Still, he's much stronger than that trash Ning Tian in our sect. He's been freeloading here for 3 years and is still just a mere martial artist. I can't understand why someone as talented and beautiful as Her Majesty the Empress would choose him as her husband. The other young master, hearing his companions speak so recklessly without looking around, turned pale and whispered a warning. Keep your voice down, showing disrespect to the Empress's husband. Do you not want to live? Meanwhile, in the Heavenly Demon Sect within the Empress's chambers, a man dressed in red bridegroom attire sat on the bed, his face buried in his hands, looking dejected. I never thought that I, Ning Tian, would one day become a transmigrator and to a place full of cultivators no less. He was Ning Tian, cultivation level martial artist 1 star. His role in the Heavenly Demon Sect, an errand boy. He lifted his face dejectedly, lamenting his fate. But why, after freeloading in the Heavenly Demon Sect for 3 years, am I still just a martial artist? Am I not just a piece of trash? Ning Tian raised his arm, examining the attire he wore, and thought to himself, this outfit is quite impressive. Then he wondered in surprise, but how can a piece of trash like me be marrying the Empress of the Heavenly Demon Sect today? Isn't there something wrong here? Outside the room, a figure suddenly appeared, staring intently at Ning Tian's shadow within. Then, with a creaking sound, the door was pushed open from the outside. Appearing behind the door was a woman with an exquisite physique. This woman was incredibly beautiful and alluringly dressed, yet she exuded an air of noble and lofty authority. She sauntered inside and asked with a slight curl of her lips, "You're awake." She was Luo Wuqing, cultivation level, Divine Emperor realm, Empress of the Heavenly Demon Sect. Without mincing words, she stated sternly to Ning Tian, "Then I won't waste any more words. You must remember this marriage is merely a formality." Seeing the captivating woman before him, Ning Tian couldn't help but exclaim, "Ah, Empress!" Noticing his agitated expression, she warned him sternly, "If you dare to have any inappropriate thoughts, don't blame me for being ruthless." Hearing the Empress's cutting words, Ning Tian panicked, thinking to himself, "Are you kidding me? I'm in a really miserable spot. Is this marriage also a sham?" Suddenly, a system interface materialized in his mind. The display read, "Congratulations to the host for successfully activating the shock system." This came so unexpectedly to Ning Tian that he stammered, "Oh." Then he thought joyfully, "This is great. With a system I can defy fate, change my destiny, and finally shed this trash status." Seeing Ning Tian sitting motionless on the bed with his head bowed, the Empress asked, "Did you hear what I said?" But he was trying to communicate with the system. "System, explain how to use this," and completely missed her words. Ning Tian continued to converse with the system in his head. "System, don't play dead, answer me. System. System." The Empress, seeing him unresponsive and not even looking up, became annoyed and snapped, "I'll ask you one more time. Did you hear me clearly or not?" Ning Tian, trying to focus his mind to connect with the system, was constantly being disturbed by her voice. He lost his temper and roared, "Shut up, I'm busy!" It was the first time anyone had dared to be so disrespectful to her, and a piece of trash at that. The Empress's eyes widened, her body freezing for a moment. Then a torrent of rage surged through her. She roared furiously, "Huh! What did you just say?" At that moment, a powerful spiritual energy, like a raging fire, ready to incinerate everything around, erupted from the Empress's entire body. Ning Tian snapped back to his senses, his soul nearly flying out in terror. "I'm doomed," he thought. "I was too engrossed just now and forgot she was here. This woman could burn me to death as easily as squashing an ant." Overwhelmed by fear, he tried to explain, but his terror had scattered his words. He could only stammer, I said... Suddenly, the system screen reconnected in his mind. "Congratulations to the host for completing the first shock reward aura suppression field skill. One-time use. Effect of aura suppression field. Can suppress the target for 3 hours, rendering them unable to use spirit chi." Skimming the information from the system, Ning Tian was both joyful and bewildered. So this is how the shock system works. Was this reward because I just scolded Luo Wuqing, calmly thinking it over? The status difference between us is too vast. She still wants to have a sham marriage with me, which proves I have something she desires. Ning Tian broke into a cold sweat, thinking boldly, "Therefore, before she gets what she wants, this woman definitely won't kill me easily. I can absolutely use this time to shock her a few more times." Having thought it through, Ning Tian mustered all his courage, stood up and walked over to the Empress. He reached out, lifted her chin, and said in a provocative tone, "I said I am your husband. Do you have any objections to my words?" As soon as Ning Tian finished speaking, the system screen displayed again. "Congratulations to the host for completing a normal shock reward blood chi pill. Blood chi pills are used to regulate meridians and restore physical constitution." Seeing his actions yield immediate results, he chuckled inwardly. "Just as I thought, strike while the iron is hot." The rewards from the system emboldened Ning Tian further. He recklessly reached out and touched her chest, not forgetting to add a teasing remark. "Since we are husband and wife, shouldn't we do what husbands and wives ought to do?" This made the Empress's eyes widen in shock, her cheeks flushing red as she asked, "What did you say?" The system announced again, "Congratulations to the host for completing an intermediate shock, automatically absorbing blood chi pill meridians, restored. Awakened M times. God tier cultivation physique. Currently can absorb spirit chi 10 times faster per second. Martial arts comprehension increased by 10 times. Cultivation technique practice speed increased by 10 times. Ning Tian was ecstatic, cheering inwardly. Finally, I don't have to be trash anymore. As Ning Tian closed his eyes, feeling the sudden surge of spiritual power within his body, the Empress, utterly enraged, roared, "Are you courting death?" Simultaneously, she struck out with a palm towards him. Bang! Ning Tian was sent flying back onto the bed in excruciating pain. Only then did he realize the gravity of the situation, sighing internally. Seems I took the joke too far. Luo Wuqing, after landing a palm strike on him, still hadn't vented her anger. She lunged towards where Ning Tian lay. The Empress pressed her hand onto his neck, asking furiously, "Tell me, how do you wish to die?" Seeing her expression that looked like she wanted to eat him alive, Ning Tian thought in horror. It seems she really wants to kill me. Realizing the critical, life-threatening situation, Ning Tian immediately commanded the system, "System activate aura suppression field." Just as he called out to the system, Luo Wuqing was about to bring her hand down to punish this insolent man. Suddenly, she stared at him in utter shock. Then she looked down at her own arm and wondered in surprise, "What, my spiritual power? Why did it suddenly—" The Empress exclaimed, "How is this possible? I can't even use a sliver of my power." And so the Empress collapsed her body, falling heavily onto Ning Tian. Seeing the Empress's body slump onto him, Ning Tian heaved a sigh of relief. Phew, that was close. I was almost killed. Luckily, the system's reward was used just in time. Then he thought in panic, only 3 hours. Running away now wouldn't get me far. When the time is up, I'll definitely die. I have to risk it. Pushed to the brink, Ning Tian flipped the Empress over, pinning her beneath him, deciding to consummate the marriage. Luo Wuqing, seeing this, was startled and shrieked threateningly, "You dare!" Ning Tian looked at the shy, helpless girl beneath him, feeling both awkward and smug. Seeking fortune in dire straits. Might as well go all in. Let me show you what a grand shock truly is. Then he reached out and pulled down the bed curtains. And so a wild shriek from the Empress echoed out. Instantly, the system screen lit up. You have caused the heavenly demon sect's Empress to experience a shock. Ningtian continuously made love to the Empress on the bed, causing her to moan softly, in pleasure. Her hands relentlessly clutched at the bedsheets. The system announced again, you have caused the heavenly demon sect's Empress to experience a shock. And so, with each thrust and moan, the system reported another shock. 3 hours later, the rice had been cooked into congee dozens of times. Ningtian walked to the window holding a cup of hot tea in both hands and said with a feigned helplessness, the transaction is complete. It's no use killing me now. Besides, I'm still useful to you, am I not? The Empress lay face down on the bed, her face full of resentment. But thinking of her dignity and the bigger picture, she forced herself to endure it. If I kill him now, there's no way to obtain the heavenly demon canon. The heavenly demon sect will also lose its chance to rise again. Dejectedly, she forced herself to sit up, looking with shame at the drops of virginal blood staining the bedsheets. A moment later, seeing the Empress stand up and coldly redress herself, she stated, tonight at the Heavenly Demon Hall, the wedding ceremony will proceed as usual. Ningtian couldn't help but be startled. He stared dumbfounded at Luo Wuqing's departing back as she walked out the door. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. Phew, just as I thought. I'm still useful to her. I was truly insane daring to do that to a goddess. At this moment, the system screen displayed, congratulations to the host for completing the 9 worlds shock reward M years of cultivation. Ningtian couldn't believe his luck was blooming so quickly, so he, ed with delight. Inside his head, the system continuously announced, host has broken through to 2-star martial artist. Host has broken through to 3-star. Host has broken through to 9-star martial artist. He stared in astonishment at the streams of spirit chi continuously flowing into his body through his arms, then thought excitedly, ordinary people need 10 years to reach this realm, yet I did it in an instant. Moreover, my realm is still rising constantly. An hour later, the system announced, congratulations to the host for breaking through to 6-star Xuan Martial Master Attribute panel has been activated. Host can check personal attributes through this panel. Ningtian grinned with delight, thinking, the leveling up is finally over. The system screen continued to load information. Host Ningtian, Strength, 6-star Xuan Martial Master. Physique, Heavenly God Physique. Cultivation Technique, none. Cultivation Speed, 10x. Martial Arts Comprehension, 10x. Spirit Chi Absorption, 10x. Ningtian sat cross-legged on the floor and began to try circulating his power to absorb Spirit Chi. He asked curiously, what is the Heavenly God Physique system? Explain a bit. But after a long while, there was no response. He called the system again. Just like before, nothing. He said dejectedly, fine, don't answer. Anyway, I have some tricks up my sleeve to survive in this world now. Then Ningtian looked with amusement at the spirit chi radiating from his palm and said cheerfully, no matter what kind of trash the original owner was, I am now someone who enjoys a soft meal. Ningtian stood up and walked towards the door, saying with determination as he went, so what if my wife is an empress? One day I will make everyone know that I, Ningtian, also have the qualifications and strength to stand at the pinnacle of this world. Sometime later, dusk began to paint the sky above the heavenly demon hall with a soft, rosy glow. The voice of the wedding officiant announced, now let us invite the 8th sect master of the demon sect empress, Luo Wuqing, to enter. The empress, in a red bridal gown, walked down the red carpet towards the ceremonial hall. Beside her, 2 maids held her train, while 2 other maids continuously scattered flowers behind her. Guests at the ceremony admired her face peeking from behind her veil and exclaimed in awe, wow, is this the majesty of a divine emperor realm expert? My legs have gone soft. Truly worthy of being an empress of perfect talent and beauty. Lin Xiaojiao, holding a wine cup, his face etched with sorrow, sighed and thought, the empress truly lives up to her reputation. It's a pity she has to marry the wrong person. A man with a rugged appearance turned to speak to him. I hear that Prince Xiaojiao has secretly admired the empress for a long time. In my eyes, only the 3rd prince of Dongxing Nation is worthy of the empress Ah. He was Quang Shou, a cultivator at the Earth King realm, and the sect master of the Raging Beast sect. He deliberately provoked, if I were you, I definitely wouldn't stand by and watch the empress marry a piece of trash. Hearing him, Lin Xiaojiao trembled with anger but managed to suppress his emotions. He raised his wine cup and gulped it down, saying with both pain and helplessness, Her Majesty the Empress's affairs are not something I can interfere with. He wiped away the wine drops that spilled from the corner of his mouth, thinking resentfully. However, I want to see what kind of person this trash who dares to marry the Empress really is. The wedding officiant's voice continued to ring out. Her Majesty, the Empress has arrived. Next, let us invite the Empress's husband, Ning Tian, to enter. Below, at the banquet tables, people began to buzz with discussion. I hear the husband the Empress chose is a low-level disciple of the Heavenly Demon sect. His cultivation seems to be only one-star martial artist. I hear that apart from being handsome, he has no other merits. The officiant tried to shout louder again. Ahem. Next, please welcome Ning Tian to enter. After calling for a long time without anyone appearing, some of the attending guests became annoyed. Why isn't that trash here yet? It's the Empress's grand wedding and he dares to be late. A moment later, Ning Tian rushed in, panting heavily, shouting, I'm here, I'm here! He stopped, bent over, resting his hands on his knees, gasping for breath. Nobody told me this place was so far from my quarters. Running here nearly killed me. He thought with annoyance. Luckily, my cultivation has increased a lot. Otherwise, with my previous cultivation, I wouldn't have made it even if I ran for a whole day. Then Ning Tian smiled and said, I'm truly sorry for being late. It's my first time getting married. I have no experience. Everyone, please forgive me. His words were sincere and without ill intent, but everyone at the banquet found them extremely impolite. Lin Xiaojiao's face also darkened with anger. The attending guests were all stunned, thinking, first time getting married, please forgive him. This guy speaks so rudely. I heard this brat is just an errand boy in the Heavenly Demon sect. As expected, he doesn't understand etiquette. Unable to bear it any longer, Lin Xiaojiao exploded with rage. He stood up, slammed the table, and shouted, Do you have a death wish, making Her Majesty the Empress wait for so long and you still dare to make excuses? Ning Tian, seeing this guy suddenly go berserk for no reason, turned his head and asked indifferently, Are you sick? My wife and I are getting married. What are you shouting about? Being a little late isn't going to ruin our wedding night. The entire Heavenly Demon Hall seemed to be shaken by Ning Tian's words. Everyone stared wide-eyed in astonishment. Murmurs of judgment rose from the banquet tables. Simultaneously, the system in his head also displayed continuous congratulations. This guy even wants to be indecent with the Empress. System notification. You have successfully caused the third prince of Dongxing Nation to experience a shock. It's a pity the Empress had to suffer the grievance of marrying this guy, isn't it? System notification. You have caused the Heavenly Lake Saintess to experience a shock. I heard the Empress isn't close to men. System notification. You have caused the Radiant Saint Lord to experience a shock. This brat actually dares to be so vulgar in front of so many people. Is he not crazy? Heavens. You have caused the Raging Beast Sect Master to experience a shock. Detestable, I almost admire this brat. You have succeeded. Filthy scoundrel. The screen displayed a notification. Congratulations to the host for completing 4 shocks received Earth-grade martial art, Heavenly Demon Palm, along with a 10x increase in martial arts comprehension ability. Successfully comprehended Heavenly Demon Palm. A few seconds later, the system reported, Heavenly Demon Palm has been mastered. You have shocked. Notifications from the system exploded continuously in Ning Tian's mind, making him think smugly. Indeed, the wedding scene is a great treasure trove. Even a skill like Heavenly Demon Palm can be learned in an instant. Watching Ning Tian escorting the Empress forward, Lin Xiaojiao couldn't swallow the anger in his heart and thought, on what basis is it him? Isn't he just a little more handsome than me? In terms of strength, I am definitely not inferior to him. I am the dignified third prince of Dongxing Nation. Envy clouded his reason. Lin Xiaojiao angrily slammed his hand on the table. He gritted his teeth, his eyes blazing with a crimson murderous aura. I can't even compare to this insect. Then he pointed towards Ning Tian and shouted, You stop right there! This made Ning Tian exclaim, Oh! in surprise. After that, Lin Xiaojiao frowned and aggressively challenged, I must protect the Empress's dignity. I challenge you. Do you dare to accept? The guests, seeing that a good show was about to start, excitedly discussed. In terms of strength, the third prince has been outstanding since he was young. He's probably not resigned to this. Oh, that's right. Who would have thought the Empress would choose someone so much weaker than herself? An Earth King realm expert going crazy over a 1-star martial artist trash. Lin Xiaojiao stood with his hands behind his back pointing at Ning Tian and said in a seemingly magnanimous tone, I won't look down on you for being trash. I conceal half of my strength. If you are a man, accept the challenge. Luo Wuqing glanced at the 2 men through her veil, but said nothing, only observing silently. Guangzhou, licking the wine from his cup, laughed gleefully. Heh. Lin Xiaojiao, his face full of ambition, smirked inwardly. Heh. Heh. Even if I seal half my strength, defeating a piece of trash is as easy as blowing out a candle. As long as this trash agrees, I can use this opportunity to perform well in front of the Empress. Two men looked up with interest and discussed, that's the third prince of Dongxing Nation. Even if he seals half his strength, he's still far beyond ordinary people. There's a good show to watch now. Ning Tian, without a hint of panic, scratched the back of his neck and said cheerfully, All right then, I accept your challenge. He also thought excitedly, just in time I can use this guy to shock everyone. Seeing Ning Tian accept his challenge without any fear, and even cheerfully, Lin Xiaojiao said arrogantly, You thing that doesn't know life from death. I've already sealed half my cultivation, which is enough to crush an ant like you. He channeled energy into his palm and continued haughtily, Humph, let me see what makes you worthy of the Empress. Most of the guests supported him. Prince Zhao Jiao is right. The Empress should marry a prince or a saint's son with formidable strength. A sound was heard. Ning Tian calmly walked towards his opponent. He smiled excitedly, thinking, Since you came looking for trouble yourself, don't blame me, Ning Tian. He politely gestured with his hand. A guest from afar should make the first move. But Lin Xiaojiao was an arrogant person. He laughed disdainfully. If I make the first move, I'm afraid the whole world will laugh at me. He sneered. I'll still give you a chance to act. Actually, Ning Tian had anticipated this mindset, so he thought gleefully, I was just waiting for you to say that. Then, without hesitation, he said, Then take this. As he finished speaking, he extended his hands forward and backward, channeling his energy. Seeing his posture, legs splayed, one hand up, one hand down as if performing a weed-pulling technique, Lin Xiaojiao showed disdain. Unstable stance, unstable aura. This move of yours is truly a joke. The guests at the banquet, seeing Ning Tian flailing around like a clown, all shook their heads in exasperation. The great elder of the heavenly demon sect's face darkened with anger. The prestige our heavenly demon sect has built over so many years, unfortunately will be destroyed by a piece of trash. The second elder of the heavenly demon sect covered his face in shame. This errand boy's mentality is unstable. He fell for the goading with just a few words. Empress, why don't you intervene? This is really making me anxious. Ignoring the ridicule and mockery, Ning Tian remained focused on channeling his energy. After a while, he managed to create a stream of golden energy, twisting and turning like a dragon. At the same time, he said, My palm technique is really nothing special. But, he said as he lunged towards Lin Xiaojiao, it's enough to destroy you. Ning Tian powerfully thrust his palm towards his opponent. Then, from his palm, a small ball of spirit chi shot out with a swirling aura around it. Lin Xiaojiao laughed contemptuously. Ha! The momentum is intimidating enough. But with your cultivation, can you even make a fart sound with this palm strike? At this moment, the spirit chi ball that Ning Tian had unleashed grew larger and larger, transforming into gigantic hands that flew swiftly forward. Just as Lin Xiaojiao finished saying the words, fart sound, the heavenly demon palm, as imposing as a cliff face, was almost upon his face. Lin Xiaojiao broke out in a cold sweat, his mouth agape in both terror and astonishment as he yelled, This is the great elder of the heavenly demon sect, shot up from his seat in shock, asking, What is this, the heavenly demon palm? The second elder of the heavenly demon sect was also stunned. This kind of cultivation technique, Lin Xiaojiao, while raising his hands to defend, wondered in astonishment. He's just a martial artist. How does he know an earth-grade martial art? Seeing that the situation looked bad, he thought I have to undo the seal, but when he shouted, Undo, 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 repeatedly, it didn't work. Only then did he realize with terror, why can't I undo it? Then a chill ran down his spine as he looked towards Luo Wuqing, secretly guessing, could it be Her Majesty the Empress is suppressing me? And indeed, just as Lin Xiaojiao thought over on her side, the Empress was sitting on her chair. One hand gently lifted her veil, while the other was channeling energy, forming a long chain. Lin Xiaojiao's wrists were already bound tightly by that chain. He had only just silently exclaimed in his mind, why when Ning Tian's heavenly demon palm generated a terrifying force, blasting him backward. During this, he continuously screamed in his heart, You're just a piece of trash. Why can you defeat me? Because you are Lin Xiaojiao, not Jun Xiaoyao. A loud crash echoed far beyond the heavenly demon hall. Seeing Lin Xiaojiao battered by Ning Tian's heavenly demon palm sent flying into a pillar, causing it to crack while he sat dejectedly and miserably in a heap at the foot of the pillar, All the attending guests jumped to their feet in shock. They were once again in an uproar. This trash. What just happened? Lin Xiaojiao actually lost. That trash just used the heavenly demon palm. The people from the heavenly demon sect were the most shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes, repeatedly asking themselves, the heavenly demon palm is the heavenly demon sect's earth-grade martial art. How is this possible? How could this trash learn it? The great elder of the heavenly demon sect exclaimed in alarm, "How can this be?" The second elder of the heavenly demon sect was no better. He stammered in disbelief. This brat. He actually won. He actually didn't make us lose face. Even Luo Wuqing was extremely surprised by Ning Tian. She thought with suspicion he actually... So could it be that he really is the key to the heavenly demon canon? Moreover, this afternoon, he even dared. Thinking up to this point, she blushed, looked down at her body, and then thought in astonishment. Could it be that my spirit chi suddenly disappearing back then was also his doing? At the same time, the system in Ning Tian's head sent a notification. You have successfully caused Empress Luo Wuqing to experience a shock, completed a shock chain. You have successfully caused the elders of the heavenly demon sect to experience a shock. Caused the divine lords of the supreme divine land to experience a shock, completed 4 shock chains. You have succeeded. You have caused the saint son of the heavenly sky holy land to experience a shock, completed 3 shock chains. You have succeeded. You have caused the palace master of the high god palace to experience a shock, completed 5 shock chains. The words, "You shocked," and "You have succeeded," continuously danced in his head, making him chuckle inwardly with excitement. Ha ha! This is exactly the result I wanted. The system screen announced again. The entire hall has been shocked. Annihilation achievement completed. Host's shock chain has caused the entire hall to be shocked. Reward, divine charm physique. Ning Tian grinned delightedly, thinking, as expected, there's a big reward. The system explained. Divine charm physique helps to upgrade charm limitlessly, causing flowers to bloom when the host encounters them, and people to fall in love with the host upon meeting. Then the system began to infuse the divine charm physique into Ning Tian's body. The women in the main hall suddenly changed their attitude. They looked at him with infatuated eyes, saying, "Suddenly I feel he's so handsome. Ah, is this the feeling of being smitten?" The great elder of the heavenly demon sect was also moved, exclaiming, "Ah, this old man's heart is also blooming." The second elder of the heavenly demon sect clasped his hands together, expressing his affection. "Little brother, are you lacking a Tao companion?" Other people, both men and women, continuously uttered words of endearment towards Ning Tian. "I love him to death. I really want to love him to death. Damn it. What on earth is going on? This is fake. There can't be anyone that handsome. So handsome. What a pretty boy." The charm physique reward the system gave. Ning Tian made him feel like he was cheating at his own wedding. He irritably asked the system, "What are you doing?" "This is my wedding ceremony. Luo Wuqing is still watching." Speaking of Luo Wuqing, Ning Tian subconsciously looked at her and wondered, why isn't she reacting? Could it be that the divine charm physique has no effect on her? Suddenly, someone's weak voice came from behind Ning Tian. "Why?" He looked back to see Lin Xiaojiao still unable to accept the harsh reality, staring at him wide-eyed, asking, "Why didn't everyone say you were trash?" Ning Tian looked straight into his face and asked, "Trash?" Then he closed his eyes and laughed loudly, confirming, "That's right, I am indeed a piece of trash." A man puzzled by Ning Tian's incomprehensible way of speaking wondered, what does he mean? Why did he suddenly admit he's trash? Another person also asked, "Is this kid bragging?" Ning Tian clasped his hands behind his back and walked towards the main hall's entrance, saying slowly, "As a cultivator, if one cannot ascend to the heavens in a single step." As he walked, he turned his head back and asked, "If not trash, then what is one?" 2 other guests, their eyes wide with irritation, asked, "Ascending to the heavens in a single step is very difficult. Since ancient times, how many people have been able to do it? According to you, are all of us, saint sons and princes, trash?" He calmly explained, "Heaven and earth are vast and humans are small. In this world, there must be mighty cultivators who can prop up the sky, tread the earth, move mountains, fill seas, summon wind and rain. Nothing is impossible. I, Ning Tian, can admit my status. As for you, you are just a bunch of arrogant fools. I see you as nothing more than a group of useless geniuses." Hearing the words, arrogant, frog in a well, Overly proud, boastful genius coming from his mouth, one person angrily asked back, "Boastful genius." After that the crowd huffed and puffed, then collectively spurted blood. The great elder of the heavenly demon sect broke out in a cold sweat, muttering, "As long as one cannot ascend to the heavens in a single step, they are all trash." Well said, ruthless enough tactics. The second elder of the heavenly demon sect offered an explanation. These ordinary saints' sons and princes are usually considered talents. These words are shattering their Tao hearts, causing their chi to attack their hearts. The people in the heavenly demon hall looked at Ning Tian, who was standing calmly watching the setting sun, and asked unwillingly, You're just an errand boy. How do you have the grace of a saint?" At this moment in the heavenly demon hall, Ning Tian heard those harsh words, but didn't bother to pay them any mind. In an instant he gracefully turned and elegantly re-entered. The great elder stroked his beard and asked, "Ning Tian, where did you learn your heavenly demon palm today?" He feigned concern and changed the subject, worried that if Ning Tian continued to speak, the Tao hearts of the saints' sons and princes present would shatter into pieces. Ning Tian replied nonchalantly, "The scripture pavilion, He thought to himself, "I can't tell them, it was from the system." The great elder asked, doubtfully, "The scripture pavilion? It's true there's a copy of the heavenly demon palm there, but how long did it take you to learn this move?" Ning Tian put his hand to his chin and said, "I used one," then fell silent, pretending to think. Over here, the great elder asked, bewildered, "1 year?" Ning Tian pondered, "If I say 1 minute, it's too fake. Better to say a bit more." After a moment of contemplation and calculation, Ning Tian stood with his hands behind his back, putting on a decisive expression, and said, "1 day, I used 1 day. Only 1 day." The entire hall erupted in an uproar once again. Exclamations of shock rang out continuously. "What, how is that possible?" The second elder's eyes bulged, his mouth agape. "1 day, impossible, absolutely impossible." The man beside him also slammed the table in astonishment, nearly knocking over several plates of food. The great elder, however, seemed to have died, slumping motionlessly in his chair. Everyone's reaction made Ning Tian extremely confused. He scratched his cheek with his finger, wondering, "What's so surprising about this?" I deliberately said a time that was over 1,000 times longer. After a few minutes of composing himself, the great elder stood up, walked over to Ning Tian and said, "The heavenly demon palm is very difficult to cultivate. An ordinary person might not succeed even after a year. Even the talented empress took 3 days. You actually—" He then grabbed Ning Tian's arms and shook him vigorously, saying excitedly, "The ancestral master has shown his spirit. Our heavenly demon sect has finally produced a disciple with talent enough to rival the empress." The second elder and his fellow sect members wept with joy, like rain, saying, "Heaven has eyes, ah!" A young master looked at him with astonished eyes and commented, "A second ago he said he couldn't ascend to the heavens in a single step and didn't dare to call himself a genius. Clearly he can comprehend an extremely difficult martial art in 1 day." The young master at the next table also expressed his admiration. "Simply put, he's a genius among geniuses." The shock system announced again, "You have successfully caused the elders of the heavenly demon sect to experience a shock reward 1,000 spirit chi cultivation." Ning Tian thought joyfully. Another large amount of spirit chi entering my body. The great elder of the heavenly demon sect couldn't contain his excitement, burying his head in Ning Tian's chest and sobbing. Then he wiped his tears with both hands and said brokenly, Let's keep it short. The grand affairs of our heavenly demon sect cannot be delayed any longer." That action both startled Ning Tian and made him feel amused. The great elder looked towards the wedding officiant and said irritably, "What are you still standing there for?" Hearing this, the officiant immediately shouted, "The auspicious hour has arrived." The trumpeters also began to play a joyous tune for the entire sect. "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh," the officiant shouted again. The newlyweds bow to heaven and earth. Watching Ning Tian walk side by side with Luo Wuqing preparing to bow, the guests, now settled in their seats, began to praise the new couple. Her Majesty the Empress looks stunning in her wedding attire. "Ning Tian, if only we had met sooner. Ning Tian and the Empress are truly a perfect match. Ah!" One person even impulsively stood up, clapping his hands, his face beaming like a flower. "A handsome man and a beautiful woman, truly a match made in heaven." Ning Tian, seeing his actions, sneered inwardly. "Ha! Just a moment ago you were calling me trash, and now you're saying a match made in heaven. First bow to heaven and earth." As he bowed, he realized a truth. It seems that no matter which world it is, the strong will be respected. This is an immutable principle. Second bow to the ancestors. Luo Wuqing bowed her head, but her eyes flickered towards Ning Tian as she prayed silently. I hope everything goes as the heavenly demon statue foretold. Marrying this person, I can obtain the heavenly demon canon. Rewind to a few months ago at the heavenly demon sect at night. Behind the Forbidden Mountain there was a place called the Heavenly Demon Forbidden Land. Luo Wuqing opened the door and silently entered. Inside, she approached a colossal stone statue, the deity of the Heavenly Demon sect. Looking at the majestic statue, which had its hands placed on a sword planted in the ground, Luo Wuqing lifted her head and hesitantly asked, "If I marry that piece of trash, will you as promised give me the Heavenly Demon canon?" She was worried about the impending conflict and muttered to herself, "Half a year later, the 5 emperors, 3 venerables, and twin sovereigns will jointly besiege and attack the Heavenly Demon sect. Only by breaking through to the God realm can I fight them. To break through, I must obtain the divine guidance. It is said that cultivating the Heavenly Demon canon can obtain that item. And years ago, the Heavenly Demon sect clearly stipulated the sect master who wishes to obtain the Heavenly Demon canon must marry someone with a heavenly god physique." Luo Wuqing naturally knew this well. Therefore, she said with determination, "Even if he is a piece of trash with no cultivation ability, I must marry him." She waved her hand, lighting a torch in the Forbidden Land, and firmly declared, "I will absolutely not stand by and watch the Heavenly Demon sect be destroyed." Return to the present in the ceremonial hall. The officiant's voice still echoed, "Husband and wife exchange bows." Watching the new couple perform the final ceremony, the attending guests once again buzzed with discussion. Her Majesty the Empress indeed has a good eye for people. I was wrong. My eyes were clouded. The more I look at this new groom, the more outstanding he seems. In less than a year, our Heavenly Demon sect will have another Emperor Realm expert. With his talent, he is absolutely worthy of the goddess. After listening to the news for a while, Quang Shou's eyes glinted with vigilance as he thought, "This matter cannot be delayed. I must quickly inform the Alliance Master." At the same time, in the Tianling domain at the Righteous Path Alliance, where a sect stood majestically on a towering mountain peak. Cranes flew around in the sky. Inside the mountain gate, a person's voice was heard as they put down a teacup. "Esteemed elders, today, the demonic path is rampant, and the demons have placed the Heavenly Demon sect at their head." That person continued, "Eliminating the demoness Luo Wuqing is the first plan. How are your preparations coming along, esteemed sirs?" The speaker was Great Emperor Zhengtian, the Alliance Master of the Righteous Path. Alliance cultivation level, Divine Emperor Realm. He was an old man with white hair and a beard dressed in white robes. Elder Jian Mei replied, "Reporting to the Alliance Master, everything is prepared and ready. We are only waiting for your order. That demoness, who knows what tricks she has up her sleeve." Sitting beside him, Elder Tianfeng, holding a teacup, mused, "Suddenly marrying a piece of trash. The Heavenly Demon sect must be very lively today." Great Emperor Zhengtian was twirling a glowing blue spirit communication jade stone in his hand, which was emitting a buzzing sound. He said, "I've heard about this matter. Quang Shou also just contacted me. Let's hear what he has to say." The spirit jade radiated a circular spiritual light, and Quang Shou's face appeared within it. He reported frantically, "Alliance Master, something major has happened." Great Emperor Zhengtian asked, puzzled, "Quang Shou, you are a sect master more or less. Why are you so flustered?" To answer the question, Quang Shou continued, "Luo Wuqing has deceived us all. The person she married is not a piece of trash at all, but a peerless genius." Hearing this, Elder Jian Mei asked in surprise, "A peerless genius?" Elder Tianfeng, however, looked understanding. "I knew it wasn't that simple." Quang Shou began to recount, "That person's name is Ning Tian. Outwardly, he's a piece of trash. I followed your instructions and instigated Lin Xiaojiao to challenge that trash to a duel. But who knew that Ning Tian was not a piece of trash, and even defeated Lin Xiaojiao with a single palm strike? He learned the Heavenly Demon Palm in one day. With a single word, he shattered the Tao hearts of several saint sons. He is called a peerless genius with the potential of a great emperor." Elder Jian Mei expressed his doubt, shattering Tao hearts with a single word. But such a miraculous thing only exists in legends. Elder Tianfeng stroked his beard and asserted, "Alliance Master, this person is definitely not simple. Great Emperor Zheng Tian, furious, crushed the spirit communication jade stone with his fingers. To think I was tricked by that girl, Luo Wuqing. Unable to bear the shock, he slammed his hand on the table, his face dark. We must investigate thoroughly. Who exactly is this Ning Tian? If the heavenly demon sect is not eradicated, the Tianling domain will hardly know peace. Change of scene. At night in the Empress's bedchamber. Luo Wuqing sat at the dressing table while Ning Tian sat motionless on the bed. Neither said a word. Ning Tian glanced at the Empress, wondering in surprise. Today in the main hall, many people reacted to my divine charm physique. Why is it only she who shows no reaction? Looking at Luo Wuqing indifferently combing her hair, Ning Tian felt his heart pound wildly in his chest. He lowered his head, calming himself down, and thought, Ning Tian, get a grip. Ning Tian, both ashamed and worried, thought, I've vaguely become the Empress's husband. If it weren't for the system by my side, I don't know how miserable I would be. Who knows how many more Lin Xiaojiaos will come looking for trouble in the future. To stand firm in this world one cannot do without strength. Unable to resist the Empress's charming appearance, Ning Tian averted his gaze and silently called, System activate divine charm physique. As he hesitantly walked towards the Empress, he thought with anticipation, while no one is around, let me shock her one more time. Let's see if it's the same as during the day. Ning Tian smiled and called out, Wife. Luo Wuqing glanced at him through the mirror and indifferently asked, What is it? Seeing her turn to look at him, he stood with his hands behind his back, raised 2 fingers, and said flirtatiously, A spring night is worth 1,000 gold pieces. Isn't it time for us to do what we should be doing? But immediately after, the Empress, looking uninterested, turned back to the front, continued combing her hair, and said with a disdainful tone, I know your physique is special. It might work on little girls, but against me it's still a bit weak. Ning Tian slapped his forehead in disappointment, thinking as expected of a goddess, her Tao heart is surely as firm as a rock. Suddenly, Luo Wuqing pulled off her outer robe. This action made Ning Tian's eyes widen in a daze. He wondered, could it be that the charm physique is only taking effect now? Seeing the Empress remove her outer robe, revealing a red 2-strap nightgown, he became even more agitated. His face involuntarily flushed bright red, his mouth agape as if he couldn't believe his eyes. The Empress slowly walked forward. As she passed by Ning Tian, she deliberately touched her own chest in a seductive gesture and said, You have the desire but not the courage. Provoked by her teasing, Ning Tian turned his head and said with an annoyed expression, Who says I don't? The Empress calmly sat down on the bed, stroking her hair with one hand and channeling her chi with the other, saying teasingly, Besides you, is there a second person here? Seeing her fiery figure, Ning Tian couldn't bear it anymore. He excitedly lunged towards her, simultaneously declaring, For the dignity of men, I will now prove it to you. A stream of chi from the Empress's hand shot towards Ning Tian, causing him to freeze on the spot. He cried out in alarm, Ah, you! What are you doing to me? He tried to struggle, but couldn't move. The Empress lay down on the bed, facing inwards, and replied, Nothing. Just using a little spirit chi to suppress you. Tonight you just stand there and sleep. Ning Tian roared in anger. Hey, if you have the guts, release me. We won't fight with strength. The real swords and spears are on the bed. As the night deepened inside the Empress's chamber, Ning Tian, with dark circles under his eyes, thought wearily, It seems she really has no intention of letting me go today. There's no way out. The gap between me and her is too large. Powerless to do anything else, he sighed to himself. I'll just cultivate first. Sooner or later there will be a day when I'll show her what it means that heaven is vast, earth is wide, and the husband is the greatest. Having thought it through, Ning Tian began to immerse himself in cultivation. A surging aura emanated from his body. The system announced, cultivation speed increased by 3 times. After a wedding night without any licking, Ning Tian now wandered around the courtyard, rubbing his arms and muttering curses. Damn it, Luo Wuqing, that heaven-slaying woman. She's truly vicious, making me stand all night. He looked at his hands and sighed in frustration. Worked hard all night cultivating only to reach 7-star Xuan Martial Master. Just to advance 1 star. The speed is still not fast enough, huh? At this moment, the system screen displayed a suggestion. Host can choose a place with abundant spiritual energy to cultivate. Hearing this, Ning Tian stroked his chin and mused. Abundant spiritual energy, huh? Based on my previous memories, I actually know such a place. A moment later, at a place with extremely strong spiritual energy, known as the Earth Origin Cultivation Ground. The spiritual energy of the heavenly demon sect all gathered here. The feng shui was excellent. Disciples of the sect could rapidly increase their cultivation speed here. Disciples would sit cross-legged on the steps, surrounding a giant orange spirit chi orb below to cultivate. Seeing Ningtian sitting and absorbing the powerful spiritual energy, the sect disciples began to point and discuss. Look quickly. Look quickly. Isn't that the Empress's husband? Not bad, it's him. The person with great power throughout the entire sect recently. Didn't they always say he was trash before? Look at the speed at which he's absorbing spiritual energy. He's clearly a cultivation prodigy, right? Ningtian felt the wonderful power being transferred into his body and thought excitedly. I didn't expect the spiritual energy here to be so dense and pure, truly extraordinary. However, after absorbing for a while, he rested his chin on his hand and sighed. Still not fast enough, huh? The surrounding disciples, hearing him, stared in amazement. That's not fast. That spiritual energy is rushing into his body. After some deliberation, Ningtian decided to go big. He frowned and whispered to himself, "It seems I can only go all out and unleash tenfold cultivation." Having said that, he immediately increased his absorption speed. His hands channeled chi, rotating to create a powerful suction force to gather more spiritual energy. The system announced, 10x spirit chi absorption is being fully activated. Spirit chi, up. Seeing the space between the chi currents tremble violently, the heavenly demon sect disciples jumped up in alarm, shouting, "Earth! Earthquake!" A disciple discovered that the source was Ningtian and pointed at him saying, "It's not an earthquake, it's him." A huge, dense stream of spiritual energy was being drawn entirely into Ningtian's body. Other disciples, seeing this phenomenon, cried out in alarm. The spiritual energy of this entire Earth origin cultivation ground is being completely absorbed by him. The system announced again. You have alarmed a group of disciples. Reward Zhuan grade movement martial art, drifting dragon steps. Currently cultivating drifting dragon steps at 10x speed. Drifting dragon steps cultivation successful. Only then did Ningtian stop cultivating. He looked at his arm and said softly in his mind, "Drifting dragon steps. Sounds pretty good. With this movement, martial art in the future, I won't even need to use my legs to come and go." Then Ningtian stood up and leisurely walked away. As he walked, he thought, right now my body stores a lot of spirit chi, but without a cultivation technique to enhance it, my strength hasn't improved at all. Ningtian walked up to a beautiful woman and politely asked, "Hello, may I ask where the heavenly demon sect collects its cultivation techniques?" The girl blushed and stammered, Reporting to Ancestral Master. They are all in the scripture pavilion. Today is the day it opens for disciples." That's right, the heavenly demon sect seems to have a scripture pavilion. There are many cultivation techniques in it. Ningtian turned to leave, not forgetting to say, "All right, thank you." Suddenly he stopped, turned his head and asked, "What did you call me, Ancestral Master?" Then his face fell as he thought, "I'm still a young man just over 20. How did I become someone else's Ancestral Master?" The girl stood meekly and explained, "According to the rules of the heavenly demon sect, the person who marries the Empress becomes the Ancestral Master." Hearing this, Ningtian smiled and suggested, "Ancestral Master is too old. I think it's better to call me Big Brother." So being allowed to call him Big Brother by Ningtian, coupled with the divine charm emanating from him, the girl went crazy with joy. She continuously mumbled, "Aha, Big Brother, aha, Big Brother, aha, Ancestral Master Big Brother is so handsome." He waved his hand indifferently and left, not forgetting to say goodbye. "I won't disturb everyone's cultivation anymore. Farewell." The disciples looked at each other in a daze. The spiritual energy was all sucked away by you. What are we supposed to cultivate now? Change of scene to the inner courtyard of the scripture pavilion at the entrance of the heavenly demon sect. It was an ancient 5-story pagoda. In front of the pagoda's entrance, a long, winding queue of people was waiting for their turn. Ningtian walked up behind a man and asked, "Are you all trying to enter the scripture pavilion? With such a long line, what year and month will it be our turn?" The person in front didn't turn around, but still answered his question. The scripture pavilion contains all the cultivation techniques and martial arts that generations of sect masters have spent their lives searching for. Queuing for 3 days and 3 nights is not strange at all. When the two turned their faces and recognized Ningtian, they shouted in astonishment, "An Ancestral Master!" Hearing of Ningtian's presence, beautiful women began to run over and surround him, their faces showing admiration and happiness. "It really is Ancestral Master. Ancestral Master is so handsome. I also want to marry Ancestral Master. Ancestral Master, "Let's elope," the men said jealously. "Ancestral Master's charm is truly extraordinary. Not only did he marry the Empress, but he also stole the hearts of all the female disciples. Damn it. If only I had 1/10 of Ancestral Master's charm." Suddenly a figure appeared and shouted, in front of the scripture pavilion, "What's all this shouting and clamoring about?" This caused all the girls from before to fall silent in fright. This person was Elder Gu Yan of the Heavenly Demon Sect. He walked out with a dignified air and angry expression on his face and scolded, "Is there any discipline left?" Seeing his presence, someone cried out in fear, "We're doomed, it's Elder Gu Yan." A man covered his mouth and whispered to the person next to him, "He's famous for being old-fashioned and strict. Previously it was because of a conflict with the Empress that he was pushed to the scripture pavilion." Another person added, "If he targets you, you'll definitely suffer a lot." Seeing Ning Tian, he raised his hands to his neck, his eyes bloodshot, as if he wanted to beat Ning Tian up. But in the very next second, he clasped his hands in a salute with a respectful look. "Gu Yan pays respects to Ancestral Master." Everyone seeing this strange occurrence began to stir again. "Our Elder Gu Yan, it's the first time I've seen him so respectful to the Ancestral Master." Another person sheepishly explained, "Ancestral Master is very famous in the Heavenly Demon Sect now, plus his strength is unfathomably deep. It's quite normal for Elder Gu Yan to respect him." After that he raised his head and presented an ancient token with both hands, saying, "Ancestral Master wishes to go to the Scripture Pavilion. This key can open all the floors of the Scripture Pavilion. Ancestral Master can observe at will." Ning Tian looked at him silently, assessing him. "This Elder Gu Yan isn't that strict. Isn't he quite good at handling things?" Ning Tian took the ancient token, observed it, and asked, "So I just need to hold this token?" Gu Yan closed his eyes and respectfully confirmed, simultaneously advising, "That's right. But this old man has a few words of reminder in the Heavenly Demon Sect's Scripture Pavilion. The higher you go, the higher the grade of the cultivation techniques. Correspondingly, the requirements for strength are also higher. I wonder which floor Ancestral Master wishes to go to." After seeing no response from Ning Tian, he opened his eyes and asked, dumbfounded, "Ancestral Master?" At this moment, Ning Tian had already used drifting dragon steps to fly high up, replying, "Of course I want to go to the 5th floor." As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Tian had already landed on the 5th floor. Watching Ning Tian fly like a gust of wind to the highest floor, Gu Yan thought with admiration, worthy of being Ancestral Master. With a single word, he shattered the Tao hearts of dozens of Saint Sons. Truly, unfathomably deep. Everyone below also craned their necks to look up and discussed amongst themselves. The 5th floor, I thought that based on strength, the 3rd floor would be Ancestral Master's limit. Even the most outstanding successor disciple can only go to the 4th floor. The 5th floor, apart from Her Majesty the Empress, the Great Elder, and the Supreme Elder, no one else has been there, right? Ning Tian pushed open the door to the 5th floor and thought to himself, "The spiritual energy in my body is now piled up like a mountain. Naturally, I want to choose the best cultivation technique." Without any hesitation, Ning Tian eagerly stepped inside. He mentally read the cultivation techniques before him. High-grade Zhuan rank cultivation technique, Star Absorbing Art. Low-grade Earth rank cultivation technique, Rushing Thunder Art. Uses lightning to open spirit meridians. Mid-grade Earth rank cultivation technique, Heavenly Spirit Art. Assists in the speed of absorbing spirit chi. Ning Tian thought pensively. A suitable cultivation technique will open the spirit meridians in the body for spirit chi to flow. The more spirit meridians, the faster the spirit chi flows. Correspondingly, the strength will also be greater. The spirit body within me is now piled up like a mountain. Naturally, I must choose the best cultivation technique. After searching for a long time, Ning Tian said with disappointment, "But these cultivation techniques can at most open a dozen or so spirit meridians. It's far from enough." Suddenly, he discovered a glowing blue scroll floating in front of him and blurted out, "That is holding it in his hand," Ning Tian said joyfully. "High-grade Earth rank cultivation technique, Demon King Art." He cheered excitedly. "This is it." Then he began to open it and look. Instantly, countless ancient characters flooded into Ning Tian. He shouted, "10x comprehension." The system announced, "Currently comprehending Demon King Art at 10x comprehension speed. Host has comprehended 10% of Demon King Art, reached the rudimentary level. Host has comprehended 30% of Demon King Art, reached the minor accomplishment level." Ning Tian continued to comprehend. Finally, the system announced, "Host has completely comprehended Demon King Art. He felt the spiritual power flowing through the spirit meridians within his body. Then it formed streaks of spirit chi coiling like lightning around his body. The streaks of chi began to radiate more and surge upwards, spreading throughout the 5th floor of the scripture pavilion. A loud boom echoed. Streams of blue spirit chi unexpectedly shot out from the scripture pavilion, causing those below to look up in alarm and confusion. Everyone wondered and speculated. What happened? It must be that Ancestral Master found a powerful cultivation technique in there. I wonder how many spirit meridians Ancestral Master can open at once up there. Suddenly a voice came from the ancient token. Ancestral Master, Ning Tian asked calmly. What is it? He thought to himself. Voice transmission technique. Gu Yan, standing below, explained. There is a restriction in the scripture pavilion. The access token allows communication between those inside and outside. Ancestral. Master, an unusual phenomenon occurred outside just now. This old man was worried that Ancestral Master might have a problem. Ning Tian cut him off, complaining. Indeed, there is a very big problem. Too few spirit meridians have been opened. Gu Yan spoke encouragingly. Ancestral Master, don't be discouraged. Normally opening more than 10 spirit meridians is already quite good. Ning Tian looked at his hand, clicked his tongue, and grumbled. The spiritual power in my body is clearly half full, yet I only managed to open no more than 100 spirit meridians. Elder Gu Yan, accidentally overhearing those words, exclaimed in shock. The limit for opening spirit meridians with the Demon King art is 100. Only a celestial being can achieve that. In just half an hour. This comprehension ability is too heaven-defying. The system announced again. You have shocked Elder Gu Yan of the Scripture Pavilion Reward God Grade Cultivation Technique. Heavenly God. Record. You have received the Heavenly God Record. It can unlock the Heavenly God. Physique. Ning Tian looked at the Heavenly God Record Cultivation Technique and vaguely repeated, Heavenly God Physique.